Well, first off, I just want to say a huge thank you to our whole fan base. The student section was awesome. What a great start for us here. Create a lot of energy, give us a home field advantage. I thought was awesome. The students were great. So clearly, anytime we can have that home field advantage with a huge crowd like that, it's going to be big for us. So I appreciate that first and foremost. Number two, I want to also say a congratulations to President Hasner as well on his first win here as the president of the university as well. Just overall, there's two sayings I guess I've been talking about all week for our guys, and that's word detail. We have to be really detail our stuff up compared to what we were last week, and then just doing your job and not trying to do too much and getting greedy in some of those things. And we weren't perfect by any means, but I think when we watch this tape compared to last week, those are going to be an area we felt like we improved. So super proud of that.
It's not often, it's been since 2019 that we've had a special teams block to score. Can you talk a little bit about, you guys put a lot of effort into special teams here, what that brought for you guys tonight, the juice maybe it helped with?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't speak highly enough of Tyler Skubanek and just who he is as a person, but as a football coach. And he's one of the really bright young minds in the special teams world right now. And him and I sat down Sunday and we kind of looked at their punt scheme, and we felt really, really good coming into this one. We'd be able to get one. And I think we're probably going to actually look back and hope we had one or two more, to be honest with you. But he's done a phenomenal job and just putting those guys in the right situation to be successful. And then kudos to true freshman Josh Roberts going in there and getting the big block, and us being able to put a touchdown on the board. That's really pretty cool. I didn't know the 2019 stat, but that's big time, because anytime you can score on special teams, your percentage of winning goes up like 70%, something like that. And so we're going to continue to make that an emphasis. It's been an emphasis since I got the job. It's a huge part of the game. We're going to continue that.
Question?
After a struggle last week, what kind of led the team to be able to come out firing on all cylinders in special teams, defense, and offense? Was there something specific, or was it just good in practice?
Yeah, a little bit of both, but mainly I'm going to go back to those two things that I was talking about, just our detail and everyone doing their job. I felt like, we had some guys really try to do a little bit too much last week. They were trying to make the big play instead of just doing their job and let the other 10 guys make the play. And that's something I harped on all week. I actually told them this before a pregame meal. Sometimes it's your job to set the edge of the defense and let somebody else make the tackle. Sometimes your job as a wide receiver is to run your route the perfect way so it can get somebody else open. It's not always your turn to make the play. And so our guys, just to detail that up and do your job. And so I think that, again, I'm interested to watch all the film, sit down, not just on the iPads on the sideline, and see how we did there, because I think it's going to be a dramatic improvement. I think that's the biggest thing.
Coach, final seconds are winding down. FAU secures the win. It's your first career victory as a head coach. Talk me through those moments where everything's starting to settle in. What's going through your head?
Yeah, just a lot better feeling than last week, I guess. It was, it's great. Again, what I was most proud of is just, again, I thought our fan base was great. I thought the student section was there. They stayed the whole time, you know what I mean? And that's extremely, I'm just so grateful for that. Anytime we can have that kind of home field advantage here, I think is huge. And, I'll be honest, I really didn't think a whole lot of it other than we won. And that was the goal the whole time, is to come out here with the dub on the column. And then I did see, I saw my 3-year-olds kind of run over there to me, and that kind of hit me a little bit, and then my 6-year-old and then my baby were out there too. And so seeing them run out there to just joy, and they don't even know what's going on, right? They just know that dad's happy and dad's good, and that was really cool, just having them run out there, and my wife as well. So I don't think it really stuck in until I saw them. And then just so much fun coming in the locker room with your team, and seeing those guys all juiced up and happy, and able to give out a couple game balls, and congratulate President Hasner, like I said, on his first one as well. So just all the emotions a little bit kind of hit at once a little bit, but just fun to get a win. Our fan base deserves that, this community deserves that, and our players deserve that.
Coach, Caden Belkat finished with 27 completions for 309 yards and 5 touchdowns. Considering the struggles he had in week 1, how much does that speak to his mentality and resilience to bounce back from that and give a firm and clearly strong performance tonight?
Yeah, I think that's one of his greatest qualities, is the ability to get to the next play, or get to the next day, or get to the next game, however you want to say it. Again, he's extremely resilient because he's been a part of this for a long time. Again, with his dad being a coach, I'm going to say it all the time. Coaches' kids are different, and I'm a firm believer in that. And him and I sat down, on Sunday, because in the world we live in, you know, you can get criticized a ton, you can get bashed, you can get put down on social media and everything else, you know. And so one of the first things I did is I called him in, and he told me, he said, Coach, that's what I love about playing quarterback. He said, I know exactly what I did wrong, and I can do it exactly the right way this next week, and I can get it right, you know. And he said, I'm not fazed by anything, let's go win this week. And so I think just his mentality, his mindset, his resiliency is really stood out tonight.
Coach, you were perfect on 4th down, 3 for 3, perfect in the red zone, 6 for 6. I just wanted to ask you about the perfection. What went into that during the game plan week, but also just during the game as well?
Yeah, again, just, you know, detailing up our stuff. Again, I know I keep saying that. I feel like I'm saying it over and over, but we just weren't detailed. We weren't making the right points in the run game at times last week. Our guys weren't running the routes to the right depth. And when you do stuff like that, the quarterback goes to the right reads, he goes to the right spot with the ball. It's, you know, we can be explosive. We can put those things on the board. You know, we can be 100% in the red zone. We can be 100% on 4th down, you know, and that's what we believe. That's who we are. And that just comes down to, you know, to putting it all in the work and detailing everything up and doing your job. And so our guys did that, especially in the red zone area and the short yardage scenario. So I was proud of that.
You took a bunch of deep shots tonight. Did you feel like you could protect better and did protect better? And then the running game sort of took a little pressure off the pass game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some of both. You know, when you are able to run the football, that's when you can open up the play action. But no, there's kind of there's that movie, and I'm going blank on what it is. It's the draft movie, and then there's actually a pretty cool story about the GM's daughter told the GM of the Chiefs, Pat, no matter what. And I kind of told myself that going in this game, like, take some shots no matter what. Because last week I got gun shy, to be honest with you, last week. So I feel like we couldn't protect long enough a little bit. And so I felt like I had some really good deep shot plays in, and we actually carried a lot of those over from last week that we really liked this week as well. And we just got them called. We just got them called this time. You know, I told myself, hey, let's not go in there and get conservative. Let's do what you do and do what you believe, and that led to that.
And you kind of crawled back in there a little bit there in the second half, but then you guys kind of just buried them towards the end there. That was kind of what happened in Maryland last week. You guys shut them down in the second half. How are you guys able to keep your foot on the gas there? With the 2s and 3s at times, too.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably my biggest frustration from the game is how we started the third quarter. You know, I wanted to go in there and put the dagger in, you know, and I wanted to go put the one offense back out there for one more drive and go score. And unfortunately, we just didn't execute at the highest enough level those first 2 drives there. And you know, that led to us having to keep those guys in a little bit more, and that's my biggest frustration, because we played a ton of guys tonight, and it's awesome to see that, and that's what you want. You want to have everybody that's suited out go get some snaps on the field, and that's kind of frustrating. You know, defensively there, we just had a couple MAs in coverage. You know, it's just bottom line cannot happen. So we've got to communicate better between the corner and the safety on both plays. It's actually, I want to say, the same coverage call. And we're not there, you know, and so we got to clean that up. And then offensively, again, we got to stay ahead of the chains, you know. We went reverse first play right there, and then we went -1, you know, and so we've got to stay ahead of the chains. Second 11 makes it tough, and we got to be better there. So I think that's kind of that lull we hit a little bit, but again, they're late, you know, late third, early fourth. We're able to put the foot on the gas a little bit more and finish the game out the right way.
Coach, last week in Maryland, Easton obviously took both of the receptions. This week was a lot more balanced in passing attack. Was there anything schematics-wise that changed, or, you know, is it just kind of Caden building chemistry with the other guys?
Yeah, a little bit of both. You know, I've said it a lot. You know, Assad Wasim's really coming along. Jay-Sean Platt had a great day. Dom Henry had a great day. But bottom line, they were kind of bracketing Easton a little bit. You know, they're playing you know, inside outside leverage on the slots a lot, and you know, Easton's our slot, and so a lot of times he was in the game in our sets that they were bracketing him. And so, you know, good quarterbacks, good play callers, we don't force the ball in that area when you're getting double teamed, you know, and so what they're doing schematically is they're putting those outside guys, Jay Sean and Dom, they put those guys on islands more. And so we've got to go attack there, we've got to go win. And I think we did that. And again, you know, we hit on it. Running the football helps a ton, you know, whenever your quarterback's not there feeling like he's a sitting duck, and you can take some pressure off that way as well.
And there was a drive late in the second half where, you know, we saw 3 quarterbacks take a snap.
Yeah.
What was the thought process behind that, and why did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, again, I wanted to get everybody in the game, you know, and I wanted to play on more than we did, to be honest with you, and that's where the frustration comes from the beginning of that third quarter. But no, we wanted to get everybody in. You never know in these scenarios where you're going to get the ball back, you know, and so I wanted to make sure that everybody at least got a snap, and so we rotated them kind of one by one right there real fast, and pretty cool to see Jordan Magwood come in and not be gun shy either, just pull the trigger, on that first play and go get an explosive pass play right there on a little RPO. But no, just wanted to get all those guys in the game, and they did a good job when they came in.
Last weekend, there really wasn't a lot of pressure on the quarterback defensively. Tonight, it was just a party in the backfield for our defense. Was there anything you guys preached upon going into this week as far as front seven? This is your week. It's time to get in and hit the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last week we did not do that nearly as much as we did this week, and again, it changes the game. And they had to, they were kind of making some quarterback substitutions here and there as well, trying to see who they could get going in a rhythm. So you can get the quarterback off his spot. You don't have to stack him every play, but just getting him out of rhythm, getting him off his spot, making him move his feet. They're not going to be as accurate with the football. And so I've been saying it since I've been here. I feel like the interior defensive tackles are some of our strengths right now, and those guys did a good job of getting after it. And we rotated a lot of edge pieces as well in there, and those guys did a good job of mixing it up and then trying to just put some pressure on him where he could get off his spot where he could just sit back there and pat the ball all day.
All right, thank you, Coach.